What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to some Pantheon Rise of the Fallen. As I mentioned a few days ago, due to there being a crap ton of details packed into the September newsletter, that we would be breaking them down into smaller and more digestible chunks. Today we're going to be diving into the September producer's letter, followed by the last month in review. They start this off by talking about how the pre-alpha sessions were scheduled to resume this weekend. I was actually able to take part in these, and although I can't say anything at all about what I experienced, hopefully it's okay to at least say that I'm looking forward to what comes next. Following this, they talk about how we were introduced to some of the character artists during this month's livestream, and how they're hard at work to bring player characters and armor models up to the standards they're looking for. They also talked about details like their improved support for rigging and armor fitting, along with character customization. Both the human male and female have already completed this process, with the Dark Mer soon to follow. During this producer letter, they also talk about some of the new hire positions they've been looking to fill, like the technical VFX artist to assist in building the environment and character shaders, weather and ability effects, and more. And meanwhile, the design and programming teams have been working on additional systems and content as they look to what lies beyond the pre-alpha we did this weekend. And the following upgrades are what they're currently working on. Some post-final functions including cross-zone persistence of groups and chats, as well as seamless loading between zones, mapping weather and time of day to spawn events and climates. Love the fact that they're going to be tying events into the day-night cycle, by the way. Adding support for swimming, introducing additional quest lines and story-based content, further expanding player and NPC ability loadouts, along with preparing the warrior for implementation. Which is so funny they say that because that was actually the class I was starting to get more interested in trying out. And the last thing is completing layout and population revisions in locations like Avendir's Pass and Madrun before they move on to the next zones. As for the October calendar, we've got the pre-alpha sessions that already took place on the 1st and the 2nd, the VIP only Bring Out Your Devs on the 7th where we get to learn more about the character artist known as Terra, developer livestream on the 14th that's going to be showing off the progress of Wild's End, which is the halfling territory. Also a first look at spooky locations in this one. And the 21st, we've got Parting the Veil with the discussion about exploration with unique items and abilities. And finally, the October newsletter on the 28th. Still no mention of the Co-Carnage stream so far, however he did post on the 1st that he's still waiting to hear from the team, so maybe they'll be able to let him in to showcase it this month. Now on to the alpha tracker. I'm just going to break down what's been changed or updated since we've previously gone over what's been completed. So we got classes and combat. They implemented some improvements to the NPC equipment behavior as well as faction relations, adjusted some class hits and difficulty tuning alongside refining the near-death mechanic. They implemented some improvements to the NPC equipment behavior as well as faction relations, loading combat text for buffs and debuffs, durability assignments, and updates to NPC loot tables. The network overhaul is still in progress, which is a major milestone for people in the community. And I can definitely understand this because there's been so many examples of games in this genre that could have some of the best gameplay and graphics, but would fall short when it comes to having even more than 50 people in an area. So right now they've resolved the network instability issues and improved entity position tracking, but some of the post-final functionality that's still pending would be seamless loading between zones, NPC pathfinding across zones, cross-zone communications, basically the stuff we mentioned earlier, but they also have dynamic entity spawning systems listed, like pets and event-driven spawns. I can't begin to express how excited I am to see the dynamic events come alive. And honestly, if we can level up the entire or majority of the way through these, I'm probably doing it. Having multiple ways of progressing through an MMO is something I've always loved to see, and I think it's why I'm starting to gravitate more towards horizontal progression systems instead of vertical. The next items on the list, which are still in the to-do phase, would be pets, ability loadouts, reception system, factions, swimming, acclimation, the LFG tool, and the basic guild system. I still think the biggest thing out of this would be the perception system, but overall I wouldn't expect us to reach the alpha state until Q4 2023 to Q2 2024. The gathering, climbing, dispositions, and starting zone experience are the remaining listings in progress, with the entirety of the art and audio sections still being shown as in progress. Now moving on, we come to the month in review. Now we've already done a breakdown of the various topics covered this month, but the general gist of it is that on September 15th, they had a live stream that dived more into the character models and class updates, and also included introductions from 3D character and creature artist Terra and a character animator named Duarte. In this post, they also mentioned the VIP developer roundtable they had before this, which featured discussions around investment, development, and marketing a game like Pantheon, which gave us insight to how things operate on that side of the field. This is also the roundtable I referenced in my recent Taming and Mount video, which I talked about how the team had mentioned how expensive developing a trailer could be for them, and talked about what alternatives they could take. Following this, Pantheon also had an article featured in the International Business Times that talked about the game's journey through development. I'll leave a link for it in the description if you're interested. And then finally, they gave us a quick recap to the discussion in the Parting the Veil live that took place in September, with the main topics being the taming, the mount system, and the travel. This was by far one of my favorite showcases they've done so far, and I cannot wait to experience what the mount system has to offer. Be sure to check out the video I recently made if you haven't already. It was really fun to make, and it was great seeing everybody's opinion on that subject. But yeah, that's everything we have in both sections. So a really quick video, but the next one is going to be much more detailed to go over the 3 separate pages of the year in review in Pantheon. I'm also still hard at work on the first few videos of the lore series, and do believe I should have enough voice acted content to get at least 2 or 3 lore videos going this month, with many more to follow. I'd love to go through everything we can, and a huge inspiration alongside channel I highly recommend for watching deep dives into the lore is Chris Kane. He does an amazing job with combining ambience, calming music, voice acting, and transparent graphics from the game. And after watching through all of it with initially reading up on the lore through the Pantheon wiki, I knew that I had to dive in further. So that's all for now. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm leaving for a trip today, so I'll probably start working on the next video by Sunday at the latest. But have a wonderful night or day, folks, and farewell.
Just